Hello again and welcome to panicbreaker.com. This time we're going to look at child anxiety and ask the question, when should we take action about child anxiety? Well, the first thing you need to ask yourself is your child simply misbehaving, or are they indeed suffering from something like childhood anxiety? Now, according to a lot of people, the most relaxed and anxious-free part of anyone's lifetime is supposed to be during their childhood, and we may be able to look back on our childhood as being joyful and worry-free, but that's not necessarily the same for children growing up now. Now, unless you've seen childhood anxiety with your own eyes, being able to spot whether your child's going through just the small trials and tribulations of childhood, or if they're suffering from something a little bit more, can be quite a difficult task to accomplish. So the first thing I'm going to do is just give you the 5 most common signs of childhood anxiety. They are sleeping badly, crying much more than they would usually do, making up silly little sicknesses, not wanting to eat normally, being bad-humoured or just downright crotchety. Now, most months you'll notice at least one of those signs in your child. And truthfully, children nowadays will often throw tantrums just to get their own way. And one occurrence of a tantrum like that doesn't mean to say that your child is suffering from a childhood anxiety disorder. It might be that they're just being overindulged. Did I say that? Now, a lot of children decide not to eat certain things, making up all sorts of reasons which annoyingly you know are not true. But as I said before, just by doing that doesn't mean to say that they have a generalized anxiety disorder. After all, by a certain age, children understand how to use emotions, particularly tears, and exactly how foolproof a well-placed tear can be in getting the things that they want, often straight away. Also, we have those mysterious headaches that arrive just before, say, departing for school, but quite mysteriously go away again soon after, and often all by themselves. Now, that on its own is not an indication that your child is suffering from anxiety to the point of being classified as having a disorder. They are, after all, simply a part of normal childhood. The problem arises when these things happen with an overly regular frequency and in combination. That, if you like, is when parents and carers should start to take more care and begin to find out what the cause of these worries are. Now, it goes without saying, but trying to find out what your child's difficulties are is something you'll need to handle carefully. After all, at the end of the day, your desire, as much as mine would be, is to draw them closer rather than to push them further away. And if they've previously lost confidence in you, then you'll want to try and restore that, probably as soon as possible. Possibly accomplishing just this one little thing, i.e. restoring the confidence and trust that they have in you, will mean that you are 90% of the way through to helping them deal with the anxiety problem they may have. Or better still, you might have helped them to totally avoid that type of problem. Now, it doesn't matter how you regard the situation. It can only be a good thing for you to be involved with your child's life in a healthy manner. It's going to be a great help to them, and at the end of the day, probably great satisfaction to you. So, if you believe your child is suffering from childhood anxiety, don't forget this is not something that will go away on its own accord. In the case of childhood anxiety, you can receive help from many places, people like your doctor or your child's doctor, your child's teachers, or any other professional actually who's involved in day-to-day contact with your child. And of course, don't forget the probably most astute member of the family, that's going to be Granny 9 times out of 10. Failing that, if you want some more help about how to spot whether or not your child is suffering from childhood anxiety, or if it's that they're just going through the normal events of childhood, have a look at panicbreaker.com for more info on childhood anxiety. Well, that's been quite a quick rush through. I hope it's going to be of help to you. If not, as I said earlier, have a look on the website for more information. This is Mark Moxham wishing you all the best. Until next time.